Hey, I think we're live.
We are live, yes.
Yep, I've got, I am.
You're live, Ken?
Yeah,
Ken, I think it's been like a month since you've been on the show, right?
I have.
At least.
I have, and you all have real people here now.
We do.
We have a live studio audience today.
That's what they call it?
A live studio audience.
Studio
Yeah.
audience. Do this, make sure you're live. Okay, everybody good? Yeah,
Everybody's
they are
good.
live.
Everybody's good.
They are. This might be our biggest crowd yet. What do you think?
By a long shot.
Well, we're glad you all are here today. And I noticed they didn't bring any tomatoes or anything like that in with them. That's a good sign.
So I think we're safe.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
At least we're not in London. It was like 104 there the other day.
Was it?
The good news is they had no fog.
Well, I guess not with 104 degrees. It'd burn off anything, right?
Pretty much.
That's
pretty
for
much.
sure.
I think I heard that it's supposed to get to be 97 here on Saturday.
Ooh.
So, yeah, we don't want to be outside on Saturday if you can help it. So,
It's hot for the next several days, right?
yeah, I think
Yes.
it is. We hit a warming trend here
Yeah.
for the next few days or so. But yeah, should be fun.
Yeah.
Well, Lisa, we always
Okay.
start out with that wonderful trivia.
We do. And this one's a little different today because today is National Hot Dog Day. So I'm sure everybody saw that. The bistro sold over 110 Carolina dogs at lunch today.
Wow.
And they
that was-
actually-
and that was all to one person.
And we were selling them until they ran out, and they ran out.
Wow.
So 110, that's crazy. So today, the question is going to be related to hot dogs. So, but first, before we do that, the winner today will get what, Ken?
Oh,
They get Ken?
yes. A Portavita Italia, a Winemakers Blend, 2013.
You did that
I'm sorry,
good.
can you say that again? I don't think anybody understood that.
It's an Italian wine.
Okay, an Italian wine. Thank you, Ken. I appreciate that.
Okay, and Michelle is off today, so you're going to be calling Brian. Yes, he's ready for you. 336-389-4111. It's not ringing yet, Brian. I haven't given the question. Okay.
Oh, this wine goes well with hot dogs too. If somebody wants
I'm
to.
sure it
yeah.
Of course
does.
it would.
Yep.
Oh, but only Italian hot dogs.
Okay, so the question is, when was the first National Hot Dog Day celebrated?
Oh.
In the United States, when was the first National Hot Dog Day celebrated?
It was right after that guy.
And if you're in the
ate
studio
100
audience
hot
and know
dogs.
it, go ahead and call that number.
They just had the hot dog eating thing, didn't
Yeah.
they, a few weeks or so ago?
Yeah, I just don't get that at all. Golly.
And then they soak them in water to make them go down better or
Yeah.
something.
They don't even
Yeah.
they don't even chew them. I think they
don't?
actually
They
just
just-
swallow them. So I don't know how they do that.
Nope. I didn't see anybody doing that in the bistro.
No, good.
No.
That's good. I'm
They
glad
were
to hear
enjoying
that.
their hot dog.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, you obviously are not enjoying it if you're doing that.
Yeah.
That's for sure. So, all right. Well, nobody's called yet, so we'll see if
No,
somebody
they're still
actually calls
Googling
with
it.
an answer to that one.
Yep.
Um,
Let me give the number one more time
Oh,
because
give that
this is
number one more
different than,
time.
than
Yeah.
Michelle's. So they should remember it, but 336-389-4111. Oh,
Okay.
got his first call. We'll see if
All
they're
we'll
right.
See. We'll see. Well, while he's doing that,
Yes.
Lisa, we need to talk a little bit about COVID. So,
Yes.
we are seeing some picking up with the BA.5 variant. It's definitely more contagious than what the original ones have been. And we got a winner. Good. Okay. Thank you. We're seeing it amongst residents and staff.
Right.
We've got several residents in independent living. We've got a few staff members in healthcare. We've got some residents in healthcare as well that have it. So it's out there. We know it's out there. We know that the BA.5 is very contagious. The one thing that is, I guess, if you want to call it good about the BA.5 is that so far we haven't seen a lot of people that have had to go out to the hospital.
Right.
So that's really been good here. I mean, we keep tracking it, we keep managing it. It's a pain in the you-know-what, to be honest with you. Nobody wants to deal with this.
Right.
But we kind of talked about this last week. it would have to get pretty bad for us to really kind of start putting a lot of measures back into place. Honestly, residents now have been used to this for 2.5 years now. So, if you don't know what you're supposed to be doing, then, come ask us and we'll be glad to tell you. But, we're not going to close the community down for this unless it gets really bad. If you don't feel comfortable, eating with others, then don't.
Or activities, the same
activities,
thing.
or if you want to do things and wear a mask, wear a mask. So you all have to make that decision for yourself. I think we decided after that first time, that was such a rough patch that we went through where we shut everything down.
Right.
I just don't want to go through that again.
Right.
I just don't think that's the right way to handle it this time. So we're not, unless it gets really, really bad, we're not going to do that. So I think we're just trying to, again, just keep educating residents, keep educating staff. If you don't feel comfortable doing an activity or being with a group of people, then don't.
Right.
And again, if you feel, here's the other thing, if you feel like you're having allergies,
Yep.
don't come out, please, because allergies are always what everybody thinks they have, and then 2 days later they test positive for COVID. It's the allergy thing that always seems to throw everybody. And I'll be the first one to tell you, I understand that, because I know that some of you may know this, some of you may not. I had COVID. I got COVID several months ago, and it started as an allergy, and I thought it was an allergy is what I thought I had. And so, and it turned out not to be an allergy. It turned out to be COVID. And I was convinced it was just my normal summer allergies or my spring allergies I was having, and it wasn't. So,
Right.
if you feel any kind of scratchy throat, sore throat, especially sore throat, anything that would be kind of unusual for you, really unusual for you, please don't come out and share it with everybody.
Yep.
So,
And along with that, if somebody does test positive, you want to notify Cindy Hawks and her team. She has protocols that she'll review with you. Also, when you do test positive, you're asked to notify folks that you were in close proximity with for an extended period of time. So that is the responsibility of the person that is positive. And a lot of times, folks may think of 1 or 2 names, and then a day later, oh, it was this person too. So just try to really keep track of who you've been around. It's important for the folks that you have been exposed to. Let's see. Also, just an update regarding the clinic. A notice was put out yesterday. We've had so many people coming down to the clinic that have had different signs or symptoms, and all that is doing is exposing other people, so they did change that protocol now. So call in. Don't just show up at the clinic with COVID-type symptoms, flu-type symptoms, and because now we're actually coming out and being able to test you in your vehicle. So you don't have to come and sit in a waiting room and expose other folks to that. So it just depends what your symptoms are, but please call the clinic first before coming down to make that appointment. They will make arrangements with you.
yeah, we just
So I
don't
think
want
that's
people
important.
sitting in the waiting room
Correct.
there talking to other residents. And if
Absolutely.
they've had symptoms,
Yep.
they could be contagious and they could be passing
Right.
it on.
And just another way to
unknowingly.
spread it.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
So I thought that was a good move that they made,
Right.
changing that. The clinic is only doing testing for folks that do have symptoms as well.
You have to be
It's
symptomatic.
not just randomly testing people.
Yeah.
Even if you've been exposed, you still need to show the symptoms of that. So, and I'm sure a lot of you have home tests at home, and that, if you feel that you want to take a test, you can always use those as your first baseline to do that.
yeah, and Lisa, the other thing, I don't think we mentioned this yet, if you make it a practice to go visit folks over in the healthcare center,
Yeah.
if you're a spouse, we're not telling you not to go.
Right.
If you're a friend of somebody, just might want to ask you to use caution in regards to going over there.
Yeah.
We don't want the healthcare folks to become isolated, but at the
Right,
same time, we also don't want to be spreading it too easily
Right,
either. So,
And they're more
please-
vulnerable.
yeah, so
vulnerable
please
to
use
us.
caution with that. I mean, if you go every week, well, maybe you don't go every week. Maybe you go every other week or something like that. Or,
And for sure, be wearing your mask. Even during your visit, it would be
absolutely should
prudent
be
to do
wearing a
that.
mask.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
And we're hoping. I know I keep hearing some things about them trying to come up with a vaccine that would help us with kind of preventing this. And I don't know how far along they are on that. I know Moderna and Pfizer and all them are working on something like that maybe they could even introduce as early as this fall. You know, that may be just false hope. I don't know. But I hope that they can come up with something. The reality is, you know, you all know we got the booster shot back a couple months or so ago. I'm sure that it's going to come up again in the fall, that there'll be another booster. We're probably going to be getting boosters every 6 months for a little while, and then I really do think it's really migrating into flu type thing. It's really going to end up being, and I bet at some point it'll end up being that when you get your flu shot, you're going to get a COVID shot at the same time, and then that's going to kind of cover things. I really do think we're going to morph into that at some point. But you know, right now we know it's contagious, and it is contagious. But fortunately, it's not. Usually, it's not life-threatening, which is good. So, but yeah, I hate it. I know everybody else hates it. Nobody wants it. I tell you, I don't want to talk about COVID anymore. I'm tired of talking about COVID. I don't know about the rest of you. I'm tired of hearing about it. I'm tired of talking about it. And I just as soon this be over. But unfortunately, that's just not the pattern we're on right now.
Right.
So we just have to be careful. Just do the best you can to protect yourself.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's all we have for COVID. So
Let's hope so,
Let's
right.
transition from there. An airport update. You started giving a little bit of an update last week.
Yeah. Yeah, so I called the airport authority this week and got a hold of somebody, and you know, what I had heard from another resident last week was correct, in that the main runway at the airport is under a redo. They're working on it, and so we're seeing a lot of extra traffic coming our way because they're bringing them in different on different runways now.
Sure.
So at some point they expect to have that done. I didn't realize how big of a project that usually is, but you know, it could be another month or two before they get that completely fixed up. So we'll try and stay up with what's going on with the airport system, since you know, we like to see those planes flying overhead all the time. There, you know, you can't miss planes too much.
No, that's for sure.
So
When I first read that, I thought we might be having, am I my microphone?
You're off.
you
Yep.
are off, or your battery's
My
dead.
light is green.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, never mind. I thought we were going to have a runway put in here.
Yeah, it's a runway here. Yes.
So we could fly in and out.
Oh,
To be really
Well,
nice.
you know, the way some people travel on the back road here, it is kind of like a runway, isn't
Right,
it? So, you know, and that's another thing we need to keep wary of. You know, we do have, I know we constantly talk about this, but
right.
how fast people go on our campus, we just got to really kind of keep the speeds down. So,
Yep.
but okay, hopefully
Okay,
Brian's
we're
going to
going
switch you out.
to change
Ken.
out Ken's mic here. I'll give we have some Clubhouse updates. As a reminder, that is an area you cannot bring alcohol into, because we actually have the license up there, and we would get in lots of trouble
Yeah.
if we would be inspected at any point and they would see that someone has brought in their own alcohol. So just as a reminder, please no BYOB at the Clubhouse.
That's uningested. Is this on?
Yep,
Yep.
there you
A
go.
little bit.
I
You
heard
might
it.
want to turn it up a little bit. That's uningested alcohol, right? I mean, you can bring alcohol that you've already consumed.
Well, sure, if it's in
Okay.
your body. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, just wanted to be clear. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
Another
uningested. I got it.
another thing is we've been seeing a few folks have been parking their golf carts up by the patio area there, where we have the benches and the rocking chair area. That is the sidewalk. That is not for golf carts. So we have lots of golf cart parking spots up there, so please use those. Folks need that walking way to be able to come through up to the clubhouse. So we just need to keep that clear.
Yeah, please do that.
Yeah. We had our CNA graduation today.
Yeah, it was
And
great.
that went very well.
Yeah, we had several residents here,
We
and so
did.
it was fun
Yep.
to watch
And
that.
we broadcasted as well.
Yeah, so we had both our day class and our nighttime classes that were graduating today, and it's always fun to see the CNA students. They're so proud of themselves when
Yeah.
they pass our classes, because you know
Yeah.
it's an 8-week program that they're in, and you know the thing that always amazes me is that you know these folks that are going through our CNA program, you know they don't just stop life so that they can do this class. How many of them today did we hear they would get off from working third shift and come in and do the daytime
Right.
class,
Right.
or they were working first shift and then taking the nighttime class. And so a lot of them have several jobs they're trying to hold down. And so, you know, it's just really a great thing that we do here. You I'm just grateful that we can be a community that gives back to the community at large. I mean, it's a little bit self-serving, the CNA class, because the reality is we started with 20 in between the day class and the night class. We ended up having on a record 16 that actually graduated, and that's really great. We usually we're about 60%. Well, we were 80% this time.
Yep.
So that was really good. And we've hired 8 of the 16 already to come on to our campus. So a lot of them are very excited about coming and starting. Matter of fact, we're not letting any moss grow under our feet. They're all going to be in orientation next Monday.
Yeah.
We're not giving them much time to think about it. We want them to start right away.
Yeah.
Because staffing is always an issue for us, especially
Right.
on the nursing side. So sooner we can get those folks in. They've been over there working for 8 weeks, so they know us. They know a lot of our residents because they've been doing the clinical. So it's a great fit. It's going to be a nice shot in the arm to get these 8 folks coming in and helping us out. So yeah, it was a great ceremony. And it just makes me appreciative of our staff that do all of the training. I mentioned this earlier. It's really neat that most of these folks that we bring in, honestly, they're coming from all walks of life. It's amazing, I think, the diversity of the folks that we have come into our CNA program. And, we don't just have to teach them how to be CNAs. We actually have to teach them life skills. We have to teach them about being on time for class, because if they don't learn how to be on time for class, how are they ever going to learn to be on time for work when they have it? It's amazing the metamorphosis they do over an 8-week period of time. And I give a lot of credit to both of our instructors, because that is a job well done trying to get those folks and pull them along and encourage them to get them through the program. But just so proud. They were so proud of themselves today and so thankful and grateful, and tears were shed. And it was just a neat experience today.
And it's neat to see a lot of them, the CNA certification is a stepping stone. That's where they are going to start.
Yeah.
Several said they're going on to be LPNs or RNs.
That's right.
So all that is great to see.
Yeah.
And we help start their career.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
Yeah.
It really is. It's a neat thing to be able to have. So, and it's like I said, it helps us, because if we can keep pulling, we do 5 of these double sessions. What I mean by that is like a daytime session and evening. We're running them concurrently, and so we're going to do 5 of them throughout the year. So we could graduate as many as 100 CNAs on a yearly basis if everybody started and finished and we got them all through. And being able to just, like I said, cherry pick and pull folks out and hire them here, it's great for us.
Yep.
And we've also started allowing some of the Friends Homes folks to come on over and be a part of our class too, and so that's helping them as well, since they're kind of a sister community of ours. So, yeah, it was a really good program today.
was.
Speaking of good programs, we had the scholarship ceremony on Saturday as well, and I don't know, I'm looking at the audience. How many of you all were here for the scholarship program? Wasn't it great? I mean, wasn't that just a great program? It was neat to see so many of our folks, 17 of them, that actually got scholarships on Saturday. And it was fun to see. I mean, the whole room was filled here, and we had half the room in the chapel filled with
It was
residents.
our best turnout.
I think we broadcast it too, so
We
got a
did.
chance for other folks to see it. But staff members were so excited about that process as well. So, we do a lot of really great things, I think. And, I give the residents a lot of credit here for being willing to support these types of programs. And, they benefit us in a lot of different ways, but really the benefit is mostly for that particular person, whether they're going on to continue their education, or they're trying to get a certificate to be able to make more money, to be able to support their family and be here. I don't think we recognize how important that really is, and what a great thing that is that we're doing. It's part of our mission, I think, to try and really just help the people that we can help. And so to me, it's just really cool that we do that. And so I've always been very thankful to our residents for willing to be able to support those kind of programs. Okay, where are we, Lisa?
We're to the part of the show where most people are probably here for.
Okay, Ken. Ken, we're here for Ken?
No, we're going to do
The
the
semi-annual.
semi-annual
yes.
meeting update.
Yes. So yeah, so let's kind of talk a little bit through some of the stuff. You know, Lisa, you and I talked about this. A lot of the stuff we do on the show.
Right.
So we chose not to do a lot of repeat from that kind of
Right,
stuff.
right.
But you know, a lot of times I typically like to go over certain things. So let's start with, and people are always, I think, kind of interested in this. You know, how we're doing from an occupancy standpoint here at River Landing. So. As of today, we have 623 residents living at River Landing, 623, and 180 couples living at River Landing. So,
That's amazing.
you know, I think I've mentioned this before, but you can add the couples at Friends Homes, Scotia, and Glen Air together, and it still doesn't come out to 180. So, so I just think that's cool. It says a lot about our community, and obviously I think that's
does.
what makes it fun, is that we do have a lot of couples here.
Yep.
Not to slight the single people, but just it does kind of create a little bit different personality to our community. So that's pretty neat. So we are, as of today, we're 341 of our 354 homes in independent living are occupied at the moment. That's 96.3%. Now, of course, you all know the 13 that aren't occupied at the moment are in some sort of transition where, you know, we're fixing them up for the next resident to be able to move into those. And so those are all folks that are ready to move in. You know, the neat thing is we never have to really sell a home anymore to somebody from the outside. What I mean by that is, you know, we don't have a home that comes available and we've got to advertise that we've got a home available. We've always got somebody kind of waiting in the wings. You know, speaking of which, we have 535 homes represented on our resident of the future list. 535. So that's not couples, or people, that's just households. So you think about the fact that we have 354 homes here, that's about 1.5 more than what we have homes here. So we're getting ready to start something new. We're going to start asking all of our independent living residents to only use half of their homes and use the other half for bringing in new people. I'm kidding, of course. We're not going to do that. I thought it sounded kind of fun, didn't you?
Yeah, like an Airbnb kind
Like
of
an
thing.
Airbnb, right? Exactly. So anyway, so obviously, no, I'm kidding. That's not going to happen. But you know, and you might say, well, geez, that's a lot of people. And you know, think about the list itself. You know, and most of you you've been on that list probably at one time or another. You know, the 535, it seems like a lot, and it is. I'm not saying it's not. But a lot of those folks are not just on the River Landing list. They might be on Wellspring's list. They might be on Arbor Acres list. They might be on Pennyburn's list. And so, you know, that doesn't mean that we're going to have 535 that would actually move into the community. You imagine it's going to be quite less than that. But our marketing team does a really good job of keeping those 535 involved in our community, because the reality is, you know, we want to be able to go to that list when it's time and know that when we have a unit that comes available, we have somebody that we have ready to that would move into it right away. And that helps you all, because the more we can stay occupied, the more revenue we generate, the better it covers our costs here. And that's always a big deal. So we know that, right? Even though we're not for profit, the reality is we still got to cover our costs here. And so, so keeping our occupancy up is a big deal for us. Okay, so that's the independent living side. You know, we've talked on the show a few times about the fact that, you know, our skilled nursing side, parts of our healthcare center side occupancy haven't been quite as filled in the last couple of years. You know, COVID really did a number on us, and we were not bringing in people from the outside to fill empty beds. So we're trying to correct that a little bit, and we're trying to fill up a little bit more than what we have been. So we're getting there. So as of today, we're actually completely full in Muirfield. We're 40 out of 40 in Muirfield right now. St. Andrews, which is our memory care, we're 15 out of 16 beds are filled in St. Andrews. Pebble Beach, we have 44 beds there. We have 41 of the 44 filled. And in Wingfoot, we have 11 out of 16 right now. So, you know, that's getting pretty darn close to pre-COVID numbers. So our team's done a good job over there with helping us to fill beds. And again, you know, the trick there is to make sure we have enough beds for our residents that live here, but at the same time, filling those beds so that we're covering our cost over in the healthcare center too. So it's a fine little line that you got to play there, but our team's doing a really good job of that. So that's it from occupancy and census. Let me jump over into financials a little bit. So you all remember that we have a fiscal year that runs from October 1 to September 30th. So I have the financials through April 30th, which is, let's see, what is that? That's 7 months of the year that we have so far. The May ones I'm going to be getting here shortly, but they didn't have those quite ready for me yet. But through April, which again is 7 months of our fiscal year, we are struggling a little bit as a community as far as, I brought two of the same sheet. I'll have to do, I can do the River Landing ones. I'll have to come back and do PHI later. I printed them, but I obviously brought the wrong sheet with me. So, but for River Landing, we are struggling a little bit. And I have talked about this before at previous, on previous shows, but because we haven't been filled in the healthcare center, we have been running at a deficit. What I mean by deficit only is that we haven't been meeting our budgeted numbers for this year. So, at one time we were a little over $200,000 behind our goal and budgets. We have made up a little bit of that through April. We're at 170 now. And you heard me just talk about the occupancy here. So with the occupancy level coming up in the healthcare center, we're going to start eating more into that number. And I really do think that we have a good shot of actually being close to budget by the end of the fiscal year from a revenue standpoint. From the expense standpoint for River Landing, we have shot over our numbers from a budget standpoint. I don't think anybody's going to be surprised to know that we're paying a lot more for food right now. Inflation has hit us just like it's hit everybody else. So food, gas, utilities, COVID, we've had a good bit of COVID expenses. Yeah. And, when I talk about COVID expenses, I'm talking about, in our healthcare center, we're still being required to have masks and gloves and sometimes even gowns, depending on the situation. And, that stuff doesn't come cheap, right? So, and then we have to we do a massive testing on our, for COVID with our staff and our residents over in the healthcare center, and obviously that's not cheap either. So a lot of extra expense this year that have been put out towards various things, and so that has hurt us a little bit. So we are about $260,000 over our budgeted amount for this year at this point. And I don't see us really correcting too much of that by the end of the fiscal year unless things get awful better. And if that's not bad enough, and you all maybe have seen this as well, just trying to get things from time to time, for us. There was a time there when we couldn't buy an appliance for trying to do a changeover of an apartment or a cottage. Kevin was going out to 3 or 4 different, and we don't usually buy them from a Home Depot or whatever. We buy them straight from GE, but GE was telling us that they were, 9 months out from delivering some appliances. And so we found ourselves going to the local Home Depots and Lowe's trying to find appliances to put into homes. So supply chain, it's just weird. You all might remember when we were doing the balcony project, we couldn't get windows. Windows were impossible to get, and windows are still hard to get. I know that that's some of the struggle with some of the other construction projects that are going on. So, it's just kind of a weird world right now when it comes to this kind of stuff. And so
that's why I got a Macintosh computer.
Did you get a Mac?
Because Windows, it was so hard to get them.
Uh-oh, there's a lot of groans from the audience on that one. Yeah, okay, thanks, Ken.
As there should be. As there should be.
Hey, folks, he's a little rusty. He hasn't been on a show for a while. We need to give him a little bit of a break. So, that leads me into, and PHI, just so you know, and I don't have the numbers exactly memorized, but from a PHI standpoint, our revenues through April were pretty close to budget. So even though we're down a little bit, some of the other communities have been up a little bit, which has been good. So we're kind of evened out from a budget standpoint. And then from an expense standpoint, I can tell you that we are one of the ones that's kind of leading the charge for being over budget. And so, again, I think that's just the extra expenses that we're seeing from an inflation standpoint. So, and then from a financial standpoint also, really our numbers are still really looking good. Our bond covenant requirements for like debt service coverage ratios, for days cash on hand, and cash and investments to debt, we're still doing very well. The fact that from a cash standpoint, we still are doing well. Don't talk to us about investments right now, because I'm sure you all are having the same issues with investments as well right now. It's just not a fun world out there. I don't know about the rest of you, but some of you that might still be invested in stocks at this point, I don't even look at my quarterly sheets when they come in anymore right now. I just like, okay, it's going to come back. It'll come back. It'll come back. And I sure hope they will, and I'm sure they will. So, but that's just the different phases that you go through. We've been cutting down our outstanding debt. There was a time when we did the expansion that we were back up to about $125 million worth of debt here at River Landing. I'm happy to say that we're under $100 million again. We're at $93 million. And I started thinking about that. I'm like, should I be losing sleep at night because we're $93 million having debt? And then I'm like, you know what? I've been living 20 years here at River Landing being in debt for anywhere between 75 and 125 million. So, and we've done just fine. So I guess we're okay. So, and then, yeah, right? I mean, you just got to look at it in the right perspective. And then I also look at the fact that in cash and investments, we have almost $74 million worth of cash and investments. So, we don't have quite the 93 million, but we've got a lot of that money in cash and investments. So, again, I think we're really strong from a cash position. And I think, from a charity care standpoint, we're doing very well. Remember that the bond covenants require us to be at 5%, and that's as an obligated group, which means all of the communities together. Well, River Landing alone right now is 4.5%. So, we're doing a good job, I think, of recognizing what is charity care, and kind of making sure that we keep adding that to our numbers so that we can keep good track of that. So we're doing, honestly, I think we're doing pretty well from a financial standpoint. Yes, we're over budget and expenses. Yes, we're under budget and revenues. But I really do think that we still got a few months left here in the fiscal year. We're going to get there on the revenue side. I'm really quite confident of that. The big thing, and that leads me into it, I'm sure this is part of the reason why everybody's here, is what's going to happen next year with our budget, right? And I know everybody's worried about monthly service fees, and quite honestly, you should be. I mean, we're all worried about that a little bit. We are working on our budget for next year right now. All three communities are working on their budgets right now. As a matter of fact, we have our meeting with our corporate office folks next week. So, maybe on Thursday next week, if we had a line of residents that kind of cheered them on when they come into the building next week, that would be really good, right? It might go over well. I don't know, but I'm kidding a little bit there when I say that. But, this is going to be probably, in my 20 years of being here, this will probably be one of the hardest budgets we're going to have to do. There's just a lot of unknown. Inflation has really been hurting us in a lot of ways. We've still got COVID that we're dealing with. And so, I would be lying to you if I told you your monthly service fees are only going to go up 3.75% next year. It's going to be more than that, But you've got one thing working big in your favor for y'all, and that is, I really want to be a resident of this community sometime in the future. And so it's a little self-serving on my part, but I'm trying to keep those monthly service fees down as much as possible so that I can live here with you all someday. So you've got that going for you, and I can promise you that I'm doing my best to try and make that work for you all and for me too. So we'll see. We'll be talking more about that when we get to. I think we'll usually do that meeting in October time frame. So we'll talk more about that then. But we're going to try and be creative if we can. Some of the things that I can tell you that I'm looking at is, and I know this is a little bit of heartache for some residents, but we need to keep generating revenues from other sources. So one revenue source that we haven't tapped into yet, which I think we should start looking at, is the option of starting to bring the public into the clubhouse to be able to eat. We do that now with the golfers that come in, and that's working pretty good. We've been really slow playing this up to this point, but I think it comes to a point where we know we have availability for having outside guests come in, outside folks come in and use the clubhouse for meals. And obviously we continue to do the reservation system, especially for the evening. I think the daytime, the lunchtime thing is not a big deal. We don't have a ton of residents up there that are usually at lunchtime. So we would have to continue doing the evening reservation thing. But I'm honestly thinking about trying to push through that now and start working through that idea of allowing the public to come in through the clubhouse. Because I just want to generate the revenues. If we can keep generating the revenues from other than trying to do it from monthly service fees, which you all don't want, obviously, then it might help us to be able to keep some of those monthly service fees down. So if you all got other ideas, I'll be glad to listen to them. But I promise you that we're, from a department standpoint, we're looking at every single one of our line items, trying to figure out how we can keep costs down and keep expenses down. But you just think about the enormity, is enormity a word? Enormity, is that a word?
Yeah, yes.
Is enormity a word? The enormity of, just like what it costs us to heat this community, what it costs us to air condition this community, how much water we use as a community on a regular basis. I mean, those numbers are tremendous, right? I mean, they're just huge numbers. And so, just trying to be kind of smart about how we do things. I don't know how many of you all are like this, but I won't leave here until I go into that boardroom that we have and shut the lights down in there, because I don't want those lights on all night long, right? And I know, do I have a hand? Show of hands, how many of you all do that, where you're shutting down in your apartments or in your cottages, you're shutting down lights and doing different things like that. So, that's a way that we can help kind of conserve a little bit too. So, okay, let's see. I've only got a couple more things. That was about budget. One more thing about budget that I really didn't mention that I need to, because I don't know how I forgot to talk about this. And you all know this, workforce, recruitment. We are being as creative as we can in a recruitment standpoint, trying to make sure that we have adequate staff to be able to take care of the needs of the residents here. And, we struggle a little bit. We struggle with, sometimes it's servers, sometimes it's utilities, sometimes it's CNAs, sometimes it's nurses. And it seems to kind of go back and forth a little bit. Sometimes we gotta feel like we're kind of making some progress, and then we lose a couple people. And I don't think you all realize, the fact that we have 430 staff members here. And so it takes a small army to try and recruit folks to come in here so that we can stay above the process of people leaving us, and trying to stay ahead of that game. And we've got one person, that's all she does. I mean, she just recruits. She's a recruitment specialist. She does a great job. As a matter of fact, you might be interested to know that she started in September. As of October 1st, we have hired 200 staff members here since that period of time. And she's a one-woman army now. She's got a lot of help, because it takes a lot of people to interview and kind of get people in here. But she's done a great job for us. But even with all those efforts, we still have needs for CNAs. We still have some needs for nursing. The fact that we had our CNA class program just graduate is huge. We're going to get 8 folks. That's going to be a real shot in the arm for us and really kind of help us with the CNAs. Lisa and I got a chance yesterday to go over to ECPI and interview brand new LPNs that are just graduating. And we were hoping maybe that we could talk, we talked to 10, right? Mm-hmm. We talked to 10. We were hoping maybe we can get a couple to come to River Landing and just interview with us and see what we have and talk to them. Well, we got 7 of the 10 coming between tomorrow and the middle of next week. So we're hoping we can get 3 or 4 of those nurses to come. And, we do a pretty good job of training new people that are new into a job. So I think that's going to be really good. And we didn't meet a person we didn't like yesterday.
No.
They were all outstanding. We would have hired them all. We would have hired them all for sure. So we're doing a lot of different things from a recruitment standpoint. The CNA program is huge for us. I hope, I don't know if you all realize how big a deal that is. As a matter of fact, I've got something I wanted to share with you that Oh, I hope I brought that too. Let's see if I got that. Lisa, maybe I didn't bring that either. Shoot. Oh, I didn't put it in my papers. I'll just tell you, I remember some of it. 99% of the nursing homes right now are staff challenged, and that's across the country. 75% of the nursing homes across the country are worried that they're going to have to close their doors because they can't get enough staff. The percentages are crazy. You cannot, it's very hard to get nursing staff right now, to get LPNs, to get RNs, to get CNAs. So the fact that we have our own CNA program is great because it really helps us with that. The fact that we can go talk to ECPI and also we're going to talk to GTCC, who has a program. We're going to try and get them to do their clinicals here at River Landing. And if we can get them here and doing their clinicals and they like it, maybe we can hire a few of those folks as well. So we're pulling out all stops right now, trying to get staff members. And I don't want to scare anybody. We're not at a critical stage at this point. This is really just trying to keep pace and trying to make sure that we have the staff we need. But I've got folks over in the healthcare center right now that are pulling extra shifts, trying to cover shifts for people. And most of that's not unusual, but it's a lot. And and then you throw COVID on top of that, and people were out for 10 days with COVID. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot of work. So I don't think in my 20 years I've ever had to spend this much of my time working on just workforce, not just recruitment, but also retention, because we can lose them as fast as we get them. It's just, the workforce today is just different, y'all. It's just different. If we keep them 90 days in a job, we consider that a home run for us. It's hard to keep people once you get them. And that's not a River Landing issue. That is just a country issue right now. It's just, we're having a hard time getting our working staff to stay stabilized and stay in their jobs. And they're jumping from this to that or doing something different, or, they're going out and doing food deliveries or Uber, or they're doing Lyft, or they're doing all these things where they can set their own schedules. And if they want to work a couple hours, they can work a couple hours. And if they don't want to work, they don't have to work. It's just, it's crazy.
It's different.
It's just crazy out there. So we're trying to really adapt to the needs of our staff. One last thing, I'll tell you. Another thing that we're trying to do. It used to be that when we hired a staff member for the nursing side, they would work 40 hours. They work 5 days, 8 hours a shift, right? Well, people don't want to do that anymore. They don't want to work those kind of shifts anymore. So, half the people we talked to at ECPI yesterday, they want to work 12-hour shifts. Well, part of that's because they want to work 3 days at 12 hours a shift and get all their work in on 3 days and have 4 days where they don't have to they can either work another job or they don't have to work at all. And also, they don't have to pay for gas to come 5 times here. They only have to pay for gas for 3 times. So, we have to change how we do things and how we look at things in order to stay current with the market so that we have the best chance of getting staff. So we're doing that, but it comes as a cost. There's a cost that goes along with that. So we'll keep working on that. Okay, I think the last 2 things I have, and then, gosh, I've taken a lot of time. I don't know if I've taken a lot of your time. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Just want to mention that we are continuing with the parking lot out back. I know I've mentioned that a couple times. We've got a schematic now that we're analyzing. We're hoping that we're just going to generate somewhere between 22 and 26 extra spots out back. And I don't know if you've been out here on certain days, but it's hard to find parking spots out in front. So we really do need this. It's going to be a real advantage to have the 22, 26 spots. So we're going to keep working on that. And at some point when we get that finalized, maybe we can show a little schematic to show what it looks like. It's how it's going to be back there. And then, just real quickly, I know a lot of people get interested in what's going on with the other communities. So real quick, Scotia Village is expanding smallly, in a small way. They've just decided to expand with 5 new homes back at Scotia Village. So they've got 5 new individual homes that they're building, which is pretty cool for Scotia. Glen Air is really the one where the construction's going on. If you all happen to see the show where we had Tim Webster here, he did some pictures of the Glen Air construction. It's massive. I mean, just massive. We thought we really had a lot of construction going on here. I've looked at that site back there over that they have, and it's huge. I mean, think about it, 192 new apartments that they're building. By the time they're done, they're going to double the size, just about double the size of their independent living over at Glen Air. So, you know, all more power to them. I don't want to be there. I wouldn't want to be doing that, but I'm, you know, we got a couple young guys that are doing that. That let them go ahead and do that over there, and that's great. But the expansion project at Glen Air is 64% complete at this point. And it's still expected that the construction will be completed and ready for move-in starting next July. So next July, they're hoping to be able to start moving people into those new 192 residences. And my understanding was that when they start that, because it's so massive, they'll start in July and they won't finish until after the end of the calendar year, just trying to move people in. Just think about the enormity of how many people that is, trying to get all those folks acclimated to the community. I think it'll be fun in some ways, but that's going to be a real challenge. Friends Homes, I don't know if any of you go over to Friends Homes since it's so close and see, but Friends Homes have been under a $73 million construction project. They're doing very well. As a matter of fact, their wellness center and bistro opened up just recently. We got a chance to go over and look at their new wellness center and bistro, and so they've done a nice job. It looks really good. They're redoing their main dining room, and we saw that as well. That's not open yet, but they're going to be opening that, sounds like, in August. And they've got some hybrid buildings over there, and they've got some cottages, and so I think the first cottages at West are going to be, looks like it's going to be occupied here in August. And then they expect everything to be done by January coming up. So just a little bit of update on the communities besides us. And I think that's my update. So, all right. Are we turning it over to Ken at this point?
Yeah, some more groaners.
Uh-oh.
Well, because we all need a laugh after that, right?
That's true.
So this says, some people have gingerbread houses. I have a Pizza Hut. That actually looks pretty good. I mean, if you like pepperoni,
pretty good.
I was looking at the pepperoni. The pepperoni does look really good.
To eat the roof off that thing would be pretty nice. Okay. Working at an unemployment office has to be a tense job, knowing if you get fired, you still have to come in the next day. Okay. I don't know who decided on the spelling of baloney, but it's obvious he had no idea how letters work.
That is so true, isn't it?
I don't know how that happened.
Because I don't think you pronounce it baloney, right?
Right. People with siblings have better survivor skills because they've had the experience in physical combat, psychological warfare, and sensing suspicious activity.
That's a true statement.
It is a true statement. I don't know why men go to bars to try to meet women. Go to Target. The female to male ratio is like 10 to 1, and they're already looking for junk they don't need. I resemble that remark.
Yeah.
Okay. Traced my family tree. It grows mostly nuts. Present company excluded.
Right.
He asked the tattoo artist for Steve Irwin holding a big crock.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think he was probably disappointed, I'm guessing.
Grimy.
Them. You look better without your glasses. Me. Thanks. You look better without my glasses, too. Oh, I like this one. Not all turtles are born in the wild. Some are bred in captivity.
Oh my gosh.
That's really bad.
It is.
You were doing so good, Ken.
Yeah. In Athens, no one wakes up before noon. Dawn is tough on Greece.
Oh.
It's true. I've heard it on TV before. A lot of people don't realize the actor that played Wilson in The Castaway is the same actor from the volleyball scene in Top Gun. Okay, so you have to know your movies there. But the Tom Hanks movie where he's a castaway on an island and he He has this volleyball, and he makes it into a person he calls Wilson.
Yeah.
It's the same actor that played the Top Gun scene. I never knew that. Here we go. I once dated a girl with a twin, and people always asked me how I could tell them apart. It was simple. Allison painted her nails red, and Bob had a beard. All right. Yesterday, my husband thought he saw a cockroach in the kitchen. He sprayed everything down and cleaned thoroughly. Today, I'm putting the cockroach in the bathroom.
Oh.
It's good, isn't it?
If you get lost in the woods, find a possum, follow it. You will be in the middle of the road in no time. Yep.
Yep.
That's true.
Here's a diet tip. If you think you're hungry, you might just be thirsty. Have a bottle of wine first and then see how you feel.
We have a bottle of wine.
We do. We do, yeah. I'm hungry too. You're never too old to throw random stuff into people's shopping carts when they're not looking. Oh, no one here would ever do that.
Now, I always thought that was the kids that did that.
Yep.
Sometimes when you take kids there and they grab stuff and you don't even know it, right? And they throw it in the cart.
Yep.
This is a pizza box, and it says, open box before eating pizza,
Wow.
which is a fun tip, I think. I never knew that. I love putting on warm underwear fresh out of the dryer. Plus, it's fun to look around the laundromat to guess who they belong to. And that's the last one.
That was a good one to end on.
Thank you, Ken. That's awesome.
Very
You're
good.
You're welcome.
Okay, now we're down to the trivia.
Trivia.
Okay. The question was, when was the first National Hot Dog Day celebrated? Anybody in here want to throw out an answer before I say it? No guesses? Okay. The answer, Hot Dog Day is celebrated every spring in the village of Alfred, New York. It has been celebrated since 1972, when it was first created and organized by Alfred University students Mark O'Meara and Rick Vaughn. So that was interesting.
72, I mean, that was 50 years ago.
I know. The year I was born. Very exciting. Celebrated the National Hot Dog Day.
72.
And the winner is Kathy Hoyt.
Kathy.
Congratulations, Kathy. So Brian, I'm sure will deliver you the prize. Right, Brian?
It's a nice Italian wine.
Oh, very good.
All right.
Yeah.
We got done in an hour. That's
Yep,
good.
we
I was
did.
a little worried about that because I knew I had a lot to go over. So, well, we really have loved having a live audience today.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you all have been great. No tomatoes got thrown at me. There wasn't any too
no.
many groans. There wasn't too many people crying. That was good. I appreciated that.
That's good.
But you know, you all just need to. We need to just keep sharing with you because it's so important to be able to do this. But you know, River Landing wouldn't be River Landing without our residents. You all are incredible people. You are the reason that this community works so well. You care about each other. You love each other. And you know, we see that every day as staff, how big a deal it is that you all are involved in each other's lives. And that is just such a blessing to be able to see that. I've been at communities before where that doesn't happen. You know, people just kind of keep to themselves. But you all are so good about just being out there and you know, even being a little bit vulnerable to other people. And I just think that's really great. So I hope we never lose that here. It's a special thing that we have. So, well, thank you all for watching today. Thank you all for coming today. We hope you have a great day. And Lisa, we'll be back sometime next month,
August,
right?
yep.
August. We got a couple dates set up for that. So we love you. We'll see you soon.